The world knows Indonesia for Bali, some know it for Jakarta. Others have heard of Java, but hidden between the Java Sea and the Madura Strait lies a land whose story has been whispered through centuries, carved into ancient stones, preserved in forgotten legends, and carried proudly by generations who refuse to let their identity disappear. This is Sampang, a regency on the island of Madura that many travellers simply pass through without realising they are crossing one of East Java's oldest historical landscapes. Yet beneath its quiet roads, coastal villages, and rolling countryside lies a civilization whose roots stretch back well over 1,000 years. Long before modern Indonesia existed, long before colonial maps divided the archipelago, long before the rise and fall of empires, Sampang was already writing its own story. This is not merely the story of a place, it is the story of resilience, of kingdoms, of faith, of cultural transformation, and of a people whose identity has endured through every chapter of Indonesian history. Located in East Java province, Sampang occupies the central western portion of Madura Island. To the north, it faces the calm waters of the Java Sea. To the south, it overlooks the Madura Strait that separates the island from Java. To the west lies Bangkalan. To the east stands Pamekasan. Its strategic position has made Sampang more than just a geographic crossroads. For centuries, it became a meeting point of trade, migration, religion, and political influence. Today, Sampang covers approximately 1,233 square kilometers, encompassing 14 districts, 6 urban villages, and 180 rural villages. Its capital, also named Sampang, serves as the administrative and cultural heart of the regency. Only around 100 kilometers from Surabaya, Sampang is easily reached by crossing the iconic Suramadu Bridge, before continuing east across Madura Island. Yet despite this accessibility, much of its remarkable history remains unknown even to many Indonesians. To understand Sampang, we must journey far beyond the present. We must travel back more than 1,000 years. The earliest evidence of organized life in Sampang comes not from written books, but from ancient stone inscriptions, known in Javanese tradition as Chandra Sangkala. These remarkable inscriptions combine words and symbols to encode dates according to the ancient Saka calendar, allowing historians to reconstruct fragments of the region's distant past. The oldest known inscription was discovered at the archaeological site of Sumur Daksan in Dalpanang village. It bears the date of 757 Saka, corresponding to the year 835 CE, more than 11 centuries ago. Its existence reveals something extraordinary. A Buddhist community once flourished in this land under the guidance of a spiritual teacher known as a Rezi. This discovery reminds us that Sampang was already part of the vibrant religious and intellectual networks that connected much of the Indonesian archipelago during the early medieval period. Centuries later, another inscription emerged from the site of Bujuk Nandi in Kamuning village. Dated to 1301 Saka, or 1379 CE, it speaks of another spiritual community led by a Rezi associated with Durga, Shiva, Mahesasura, Mardini. The presence of Nandi, the sacred bull that serves as the divine mount of Lord Shiva, demonstrates that Shaivism had become deeply rooted within the region. This was not merely a place where one belief replaced another. Instead, Sampang reflected one of the defining characteristics of Indonesian civilization. Different religious traditions often coexisted, interacted, and shaped local culture together. Only a few years later, another important archaeological site appeared in Polagan village. Known today as the site of Prince Bangsakara, it is associated with the year 1383. The temple reliefs discovered there tell the story of a prince whose life conveyed moral teachings and religious values. Combined with the earlier discoveries, historians conclude that between the late 14th century and the early 15th century, both Buddhist and Shaivite communities were actively living and practicing their beliefs in Sampang. These discoveries paint a picture very different from the assumptions many people make about Madura. Rather than existing on the margins of history, Sampang stood within the broader currents of civilization that shaped Southeast Asia. Its people were connected to religious scholarship. Its leaders embraced spiritual traditions. Its artisans created monuments whose messages have survived for centuries. History, however, is rarely simple. Not every inscription became accepted as definitive evidence. Archaeologists and historians spent years debating which discoveries could reliably establish the official founding date of Sampang Regency. Several important sites, including Sumur Daksan, Bujuk Nandi, Bangsacara, and Prince Santo Murto, were carefully examined during academic seminars involving researchers from Gadjah Mada University. Although these sites remain historically significant, scholars concluded that they lacked sufficient authenticated documentary evidence to serve as the official reference for determining the Regency's anniversary. Instead, after extensive scholarly debate and rigorous historical analysis, the tomb of Ratu Ebu was chosen as the official historical reference for establishing the founding date of Sampang Regency. This decision reflects something important about history itself. History is not built upon legend alone. It requires evidence, critical analysis, and the willingness to revise long-held assumptions whenever stronger proof emerges. Yet archaeology tells only part of Sampang's story. Local chronicles known as the Babad Sampang preserve memories that bridge history and legend, offering insight into how generations understood their own origins. During the height of the Majapahit Empire, Sampang was governed by an official known as a Kamituwo, whose rank was comparable to that of a Pati, or chief minister. This indicates that Sampang already possessed an organized administrative structure within Majapahit's political system. As Majapahit gradually declined during the 15th century, new local rulers emerged. Among the most prominent was Aryo Lembu Peteng, also remembered through several names, including Bondan Kejawan and Ki Ageng Tarub II. According to Javanese tradition, he was connected to the royal family of Majapahit through King Bre Kertabumi, widely known as Prabu Brawijaya V. After leaving political life, Aryo Lembu Peteng devoted himself to religious study at the famous Ampel Mosque, one of the earliest centers of Islamic learning in Java, where he eventually passed away. His legacy continued through his descendants, whose leadership spread across different parts of Sampang and neighboring islands, weaving together noble lineages, local governance, and the gradual spread of Islam throughout Madura. These stories, preserved across generations, illustrate the profound transformation that reshaped Sampang. From Buddhist learning to Shaivite devotion, from Majapahit administration to Islamic scholarship. Rather than erasing the past, each era added another layer to the region's identity. Sampang became a living archive of Indonesian civilization, where ancient beliefs, royal traditions, and emerging faiths combine to create a unique cultural heritage that continues to define the region today. And perhaps that is Sampang's greatest lesson. The true strength of a civilization is not measured by how loudly it announces itself to the world. It is measured by how faithfully it preserves its identity across centuries of change. Empires may rise, kingdoms may fall, religions may spread, governments may change, but the soul of a place survives through its people, its traditions, its memories, and its determination never to forget where it came from. Sampang is more than a regency on the map of Indonesia. It is a testament to endurance, a bridge between ancient civilizations and modern Indonesia, a place where every inscription, every legend, every village, and every generation continues to remind us that history is not only found in grand capitals. Sometimes history lives quietly in places that the world has yet to truly discover.